Hello there and welcome to the Jarvis 3.0 course AGI powered virtual assistant. Are you an Iron Man movie fan and you love the character Jarvis from the movie, which is an artificial virtual assistant of Mr. Tony Stark? Are you curious about new advancement in artificial intelligence and how to build an artificial intelligence powered virtual assistant similar from the Marvel's Iron Man movie and create a real world Jarvis? Do you have passion for IoT and home automation and want to learn how to combine all these technologies together to create a smarter home similar from the Marvel's Iron Man movie? If so, this course is perfect for you. In this course, we are going to be diving into the exciting world of artificial intelligence and showing you how you can create your own artificial intelligence powered virtual assistant from scratch. We will learn how to use Python programming to create an AI assistant with advanced natural language processing capabilities. We will be also adding GPT-3 for more powerful language understanding. And to top it off, we will also show you how you can integrate AI assistant with IoT devices to create a truly smart home. Whether you are a beginner in Python programming and AI with no prior knowledge, or you are an existing developer looking to expand your skill set, this course is designed to meet you where you are and take you to the next level. So if you are ready to explore the world of AI and home automation and build your own Jarvis AI virtual assistant, then what are you waiting for? Click on that enroll button and get started now. I'm waiting for you inside the course. This is just a demo of the full course that is available on udemy.com. So if you are interested in adding all the features into your virtual assistant Jarvis 3.0, so for that you can just click on the first link in the description and get up to 90% discount on the full course. And if you're interested in similar content, then please subscribe to our channel and also press the bell icon to get notified whenever I post new videos. And before getting started with the video, I want you to drop a like for the video and I will make sure I will post more content on the channel. Let's get started with our course.
Hello there. I am Jarvis 3.0, an advanced artificial intelligence assistant developed utilizing Python programming language, machine learning natural language processing, neural network integrated with IoT, robotics and powered by OpenAI's GPT3 language model. As a genuine AGI-powered assistant, I possess a plethora of capabilities and features that are available to assist you. Let me show you what I'm capable of.
Hello, I'm Jarvis.
Jarvis, remember that?
What should I remember?
We have to go for shopping and get oats and milk for tomorrow's breakfast.
You said me to remember that we have to go for shopping and get oats and milk for tomorrow's breakfast.
Jarvis, do you know anything?
You told me to remember that we have to go for shopping and get oats and milk for tomorrow's breakfast.
Jarvis, what is the time now?
The current time is 3 hours 8 minutes and 56 seconds.
Jarvis, how is the weather today?
Weather in New York City is like temperature -2 degrees Celsius. Weather is clear sky.
Jarvis, who is the founder of Apple company?
Steve Jobs is the founder of Apple.
Jarvis, who is the founder of Microsoft company?
The founder of Microsoft is Bill Gates.
Jarvis, what is the calculation 5 plus 10?
The calculation 5 plus 10 is equal to 15.
So you can see it is also now able to give us the answers to mathematical calculation by just providing the command to it. And it is also using the wake word as well. So if I don't use the wake word, in that case, it will not reply to us or it will not disturb us. So we can use it similar to the Alexa or Google Assistant, and we have added the functionality of the wake word as well. So you can see how helpful it is to use the wake word, and unless we use the wake word, so it will not respond to us unless and until we use the wake word. Jarvis write a tweet about Python programming language that can get a lot of traction on Twitter.
Python programming language is the ultimate way to unlock your potential and unleash your creativity. Hashtag coding, hashtag programming, hashtag Python.
So you can see now it is also able to provide the features of ChatGPT as well. So we can create different things, and we can take the help of Jarvis AI assistant and unlock the potential that it has, and we can use it in our day-to-day life and provide the commands with our voice, and it will be able to reply us with the answers from GPT-3. And it will work similar to ChatGPT, but instead of giving the command in text format, we're going to be giving the commands in voice format with the help of Jarvis AI interface. Jarvis write an essay on pollution of about 300 words.
Pollution is a serious and rampant environmental issue that affects the entire planet. It is defined as the contamination of air, water, or soil by the introduction of harmful substances or potential toxins. In recent years, there has been an increase in the amount of pollution due to human activities such as burning fossil fuels, manufacturing processes, and agricultural production. Pollution manifests itself in three distinct forms: air pollution, water pollution, and land pollution. Air pollution is created when pollutants like carbon dioxide, sulfur dioxide, and nitrogen oxides are released into the atmosphere and affect the quality of the air. These pollutants can cause respiratory illnesses, heart diseases, and cancer. Water pollutants such as industrial waste, pesticides, and fertilizers can contaminate.
Jarvis, who is the founder of Microsoft company.
The founder of Microsoft is Bill Gates.
Jarvis, what would be your recommendation for iOS versus Android? Which one should I go with?
My recommendation is to go with the OS that best suits your needs. There are many great features in both iOS and Android, and each have their own benefits. Ultimately, you should choose the system that offers the features you need and is most compatible with the other devices and software you use.
Jarvis, I want any one of the answer. I want you to pick either iOS or Android. So just give me one pick that you would like me to purchase.
I recommend the Apple iPhone 11 Pro Maximum. It's a powerful device with a large display and great camera capabilities.
Okay, thank you so much, Jarvis.
You're welcome.
Jarvis, I am planning to go to Dubai. So can you recommend me some best practices or anything you have for a recommendation for me that where should I go and stay over there, or if any places that I can visit? So just recommend me that.
Dubai is a great city for tourists and has a lot to offer. Here are some best practices and recommendations for your visit. 1. Make sure you have the correct documents needed for entry into Dubai, such as visa and passport. 2. Familiarize yourself with the country's culture and customs before arriving. Be aware of the dress code, religious sites, and general behaviors. 3. Make sure to plan your accommodations in advance, as well as transportation options such as taxis, public transportation, or car rentals. 4. It is also important to research attractions ahead of time and budget for any activities you want to take part in.
Jarvis, go offline. Hello, Jarvis.
Hello sir, Jarvis at your service. Please tell me, how can I help you?
Jarvis, initiate the drone in selfie mode.
Okay sir, initiating drone in selfie mode.
me to introduce myself. I am Jarvis, a virtual artificial intelligence, and I'm here to assist you with a variety of tasks as best I can, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Importing all preferences from home interface. Systems are now fully operational.
Jarvis, turn on lamp.
Okay, sir, turning on lamp.
Jarvis, turn off lamp.
Okay, sir, turning off lamp.
Jarvis, turn on the AC.
Okay, sir, turning on the AC with temperature 20 degrees Celsius.
Turn on the lights, Jarvis.
Okay, sir, turning on the lights.
Turn off lights, Jarvis.
Okay, sir, turning off the lights.
Jarvis, turn on the wipers.
Okay, sir, turning on the wiper.
Jarvis, open the left window.
Okay, sir, opening the left window.
Jarvis, close the left window.
Okay, sir, closing the left window.
Jarvis, play some songs.
Okay, sir, opening the playlist.
Jarvis, how is the weather?
Sir, the temperature in the car is 25 degrees Celsius.
Jarvis, how much fuel do I have?
Sir, the fuel is around 12 liters. We can go 171 kilometers now.
I trust that you appreciate the extensive features that I offer and are enthusiastic about creating your own AGI-powered virtual assistant. If that's the case, why wait any longer? Simply click on the Enroll button to begin your journey now. Okay, Mr. Khan is back. I have to go. Thanks for watching the video. Love you 3000.
Hello there, in this particular video we are going to be setting up our development environment for our Python course. So for that, first of all, we will open any browser, and over there we are going to be searching for python.org, which is the official website of Python. So we will just go over here, and you can see this is the official website of Python programming. So on this website, you can find out a lot of things related to Python. So we can download the latest version of Python from here. You can also find the documentation of Python. There is also the community of Python. There are some success stories, some news and events. So you can go through this website to get more knowledge about Python programming and what all things are available. So for now, let's download the latest version of Python. So for downloading it, we just need to hover over this download section, and you will get this option for downloading it for Windows. So we are on our Windows system, so it is showing this thing. So we can just click on this Python 3.11 and it will start downloading it onto our system. So it will take few seconds. So if you want to download an older version of Python, then you can click on all releases and you can scroll down here. You can find different releases of Python, and you can download the older version of Python as well from here. So you can just go through the entire website to get more knowledge about these things. And you can also get the documentation for Python over here. So we can click on Python docs. So you can see this is the entire documentation of Python. So if you want a particular functionality, or if you want to know about a particular function, you can just do a quick search over here and you will get the results. After downloading Python, we also need a code editor that we are going to be using. So in our case, we are going to be using the VS code editor, which is developed by Microsoft. So we will just search here VS Code, and we will get this first result, that is Visual Studio Code. We'll click on this first link and it will give us the option to download it for Windows. So you can see that code editing refined, and
we click on this download, so it will start downloading it onto our system. So you can go through this website and learn more about VS Code IDE. So you can use VS Code IDE if you are working on multiple programming languages. So it supports multiple programming languages as well as technologies, and it has a marketplace for all the extension we can download for VS Code, and we can use them inside our VS Code to simplify our programming needs. So you don't need to install multiple IDEs or development environments for your programming needs. You can do it all in one place using the VS Code IDE or the code editor. So VS Code supports all these programming languages, as you can see here, and you can also download different extensions for these programming languages, and you can customize all these things as per your requirement and your development needs. So now the download is completed. Let's try installing the Python first. So we will double click on this Python exe file, and it will open this Python setup for us. So in here, we just need to select this checkbox which says add Python exe to path. Otherwise, the Python command will not work in our computer. So after that, we will click on customize installation. Over here, you can see by default, all the checkbox are selected. We will click on next. And in here, we will just select installation Python 3.11 for all users. So we will just select this checkbox over here and we will click on install. And it will ask for the administrative permissions. We will click on yes, and it will start installing it onto our system. So it will take few seconds to install Python on our system. And once the installation is completed, we can open command prompt and try to run the Python command to see whether Python is successfully installed on our system or not. And on the Python website, you will get the latest version of Python. So right now we have downloaded Python 3.11. If you're watching this video in the future, in that case, the version might be different. So you can easily install the latest version of Python. And also, the latest version of Python doesn't support all the libraries that are available. So in some cases, you need to install the older version of Python to get the support of all the libraries. So just keep in mind that if you're getting any kind of errors or issues while installing any library or using them in your code, in that case, you can go to an older version of Python and use that instead of the latest version of Python. So the latest version of Python has some bugs and issues that the team is still working on. So in the meantime, you can use the older version of Python to get your work done. So now you can see that the setup was successfully installed and Python is now installed on our system. We will just click on this close button, and in here we are going to be opening a command prompt. So for that, we will type here cmd, and it will open a command prompt over here, and we will just type here Python, and we will add hyphen version. And if I hit enter, you will get this Python version that we have installed on our system. So if we just type here Python, in that case, it will open the interpreter. So this is the Python interpreter that we can use to give some commands. So let me just try to print out something. If I do print hello Python 101, and after that, if we hit enter, so it will print out this line for us. So now we have successfully installed Python on our system. We will just type here exit, and we will hit enter. So it will exit out of this Python interpreter. So after that, we are going to be installing this VS Code IDE onto our system. So we will just double click on this exe file, and it will start the installation process for us. So we will just click on I accept the agreement. We'll click on next. We will click on next, and we will click on install. So it will start installing it onto our system. So after the installation is completed for the VS Code, if we right click, we will get this option to open with code. So if we click over here, so it will open the VS Code IDE inside our folder. So you can see inside the Python 101 folder, we have the VS Code IDE. So we will just click on I trust this, and we will just provide the permissions. And after that, we will get this kind of interface. So after that, we have successfully installed the VS Code IDE onto our system. After that, we also need to install an extension for Python. So for that, we will just click on this extensions here and we will just type here Python. And we will get this first result, which is Python IntelliSense. We will just click over here, and on my system I have already installed it. So you will get an option over here to install it, so you just need to click on install and it will start installing it onto your system. So it will take a few minutes to install, and the Python extension will be available on your VS Code IDE, and after that we can easily run the Python code inside our VS Code IDE. So this is how we need to set up our development environment for Python development, and we have now successfully installed all the required software onto our system for our Python development. So that was it for this particular video. Let's move to the next video of our course. Okay, so in this lesson onwards, we're going to be starting working on our virtual assistant, that is JARVIS 3.0. So for that, first of all, we will just right click and open the VS Code IDE inside of a folder. So we'll just open that, and we have created a folder named JARVIS 3.0. So over here, we're going to be creating a new file, and it will be a Python file, and we will just try to save this as Jarvis. And if we hit enter, so it will create this jarvis.py file inside our folder. So for now, we will just close this, get started, and also we are going to be minimizing this thing. So first of all, for creating our virtual assistant, we're going to be adding the first functionality that will be converting the text to speech. So for that, first of all, we need to install a particular module, that is PyTTSX3 onto our system. So for installing that, we will open our terminal, and over here we're going to be doing cmd, and now we are inside of a command prompt. Over here we can type the command to install this particular package, that is PyTTSX3. So we will do pip install PyTTSX3. So basically it is the Python package to convert the text to speech. So we will just hit enter. So it will start installing it onto our system, and now you can see it has successfully installed this package. So once we are done with that, we will just close this terminal from here, and over here we're going to be importing this library. So we'll do import PyTTSX3, and I will also add a comment over here. So to install this package, we need to use pip install PyTTSX3, and it is used to convert text to speech. We'll also add it is used to convert text to speech. So we are going to be using this particular library now. So first of all, we are going to be creating a variable name engine. So we'll do engine, that will be equals to PyTTSX3 dot init. So basically we are calling the init function from PyTTSX3, and we are storing it inside our variable engine. After that, we are going to be calling a function that is present inside this engine. So we are going to be doing engine dot say, and inside this we are going to be passing some data that we want it to speak. So let me add hello from Jarvis. After that, in the next line, we are going to be calling another function that is present inside this engine. So we will do engine dot run and wait. So basically this run and wait function will wait until the text is converted into speech, and it will stop the engine after that. So let me just try to save our code and try to run it and see the output of it. So let me just try to run it.
Hello from Jarvis.
Okay, I hope you guys are able to hear that. Let me add some other text over here. So I will just try to copy this thing and add it inside our save function. And I will just try to remove this particular double equals true from here. If we save this code, we try to run it again.
PyTTSX3, it is used to convert text to speech.
So you can see how simple it is to convert the text to speech using Python with just 4 lines of code. You can just do that and implement it. So if you have any doubts or issues regarding it, or you're getting any errors, so you can let me know in the Q&A section of the course. I will definitely try to help you out as soon as possible. So I think that was it for this particular lesson. Let's keep it simple and take a step-by-step process for creating this virtual assistant. So without further ado, let's move to the next lesson of our course. So in the previous lesson of our course, we have added this piece of code using which we were able to convert our text to speech, but you can see that we have to add the text manually and there is not a proper format for adding it. So let's try to convert this code into a function and try to access it. And we are going to be taking the input from the user through the command prompt. So first of all, we are going to be adding this code inside a function. So we will create a function def speak. And inside that, we're going to be passing text. And we are going to be adding this piece of code inside this function. And after making that change, we just need to remove this string from here. And instead of that, we're going to be passing the text that we are getting from the user. So after writing this piece of code, you can see that we have created this function that is speak. So whenever we want our virtual assistant to convert the text to speech, in our code, we can call this speak function and it will do the task for us for converting the text that we have written inside this speak function into speech. So let me show you an example of how we can run this. So right now, we can either call this speak function directly. We'll do speak. And over here, we can add double quotes for passing a string. So we will type here, this is a test for text to speech using Jarvis. Okay, after that, if we save our code and try to run it now.
This is a test for text to speech using Jarvis.
So you guys can see it is giving us the output. So you can see that we have to manually type everything inside our code and it is not looking good at all. We want to take an input from the user through our command prompt instead. So for that, we will just close this terminal from here and I will just try to copy this entire text and remove it from here. And over here, we're going to be creating a while loop. So we'll do while true. We are going to be taking input from our user. So over here, first of all, I will add an indentation. And here we're going to be creating a variable named text that equals to input. So basically, we are going to be taking an input from the user. So here we will type enter some text to convert into speech. After that, we are going to be passing this text inside our speak function. So I will do text. After this, I think we are good to go. You can see here is the entire code that we have written. We just try to save this code and try to run it now. And it will ask us for an input. It will ask enter some text to convert into speech. I will add the text. So okay, it's not looking good at all. So let's try adding a /n over here. So I will do /n. So I have stopped the previous program that was running and we have saved the changes into our code. And let's try running it again. So now it will ask us to enter some text to convert it into speech. Let me add the text that we have copied previously. So it says this is a test for text to speech using Jarvis. So if I hit enter.
This is a test for text to speech using Jarvis.
Okay, you can see now it is again asking for some other input. So just try to copy this from here and paste it in here. And if you hit enter.
PYTTSX3 == it is used to convert text to speech.
So you guys can see it is able to convert whatever text we pass in here into speech using our speak function that we have created for converting the text to speech. We can add any kind of text over here. So it will try to convert it into speech and we can use it anywhere in our code whenever we want our Jarvis virtual assistant to speak something or convert something into speech. So whenever our virtual assistant Jarvis wants to give us some output in the form of speech, in that case, we can convert the text that we are getting from our program into speech with the help of the speak function. So I think now you got a clear idea how you can create the speak function with the help of this PyTDSX3 module, and you're successfully able to run this code. So if you have any errors or issues or doubts regarding it, you can let me know in the Q&A section of the course. I will definitely try to help you out as soon as possible. So I think that was it for this particular lesson. Let's move to the next lesson of our course. So in this particular lesson, we're going to be adding a new functionality into our virtual assistant, using which it will tell us the current time. So for adding that particular functionality, we need to import a module that is a built-in Python module named datetime. So we will do import datetime. And after importing this, we are going to be creating a function that will be giving us the output as time. So right here we have added some piece of code. We'll just try to remove this, so we don't need that code now. So we're going to be creating a function named time, and inside this function we are going to be creating a variable named time, and the t for the variable will be capital, and in here we will do datetime dot now. So this is a function that we can use to get the current time, and we can also convert it into string. So for that we can do dot strf time. So using it, it will convert the time into a string format, using which we can easily convert it into speech. So inside this, we're going to be providing a specific format. So let's try. First of all, printing out this time. So let me add print time, and after printing this out, okay, it should be capital T instead of small t, so it should be time. And after that, we can just make a function call over here. So we can call this time function, and it will print out the output from this particular. So after that, if we save the code and try to run it, so in the output you can see there is some error that it is showing that f string missing required argument format. So we just need to provide some format over here. So in which format we need this time. So first of all, we want it to give us the current hour. So in double quotes, we're going to be adding percentage capital I colon, and after that we want the current minutes. So we will add percentage capital M, and we will add another colon, and we will do percentage S for getting the current seconds. So I will just add a comment over here so you understand which variable is for getting which point of time. So for hour we have capital I, for minutes we have capital M, and for seconds we have capital S. So after adding this piece of code, if we save our code and try to run it again, now you can see the output we get time is 12, 17 and 15 seconds. So after that, we will just try to close this thing. We are getting the perfect output that we wanted. Now we want our virtual assistant to speak that the current time is, and it should give us the time. So for adding that particular thing, you just need to do speak instead of print, and before this we need to add speak, and in that we are going to be telling the user the current time is, and after that it will speak the time. So if we save our code, now if we try to run it again,
The current time is 12 hours 18 minutes and 8 seconds.
so as you guys can see that we are getting the appropriate output that we wanted. So we wanted the current time, and it is speaking that the current time is and giving us the current time. So using this piece of code, we can get the current time using our virtual assistant, and we are going to be adding more functionality into it. Like whenever we ask our virtual assistant like what's the time Jarvis or something like that, it will return us this time. So for now we are just going to be creating this time function. Later on we are going to be creating more advanced code. In that, we are going to be calling this function to get the current time. So I think that was it for this particular lesson on getting the current time using the date time module and using the strf time function to convert it into a proper format that we wanted, and also it is going to be giving us the appropriate output. So without further ado, let's move to the next lesson of our course. So in the previous lesson, we have added this functionality into our virtual assistant, using which it is able to give us the current time. Now in this particular lesson, we are going to be adding another functionality to get the current date. So for adding that, we have already imported the date time module. After this piece of code that we have written over here, we will just try to remove this function call, and we're going to be creating another function. So we will do def date. So in here, what we are going to be doing is we are going to be creating multiple variables in which we are going to be storing some values. So we will do here, that will be equals to int. So basically we are going to be storing this data in the form of integer. So by default, it will be storing it in the form of string. So we want it to be in the form of integer. So we'll do int datetime dot datetime dot now, and dot now function. After that, we are going to be passing year. So it will be storing the current year inside this variable which we have created, that is year. Similarly, we are going to be doing the same for the month as well. Instead of year, we're going to be passing month. And here also we're going to be changing the name of the variable to month. And at last, we are going to be adding the date. So over here, instead of year, we are going to be doing dot day. And after that, we are going to be printing out all these values one by one. So let me just try to add date first. So we will just try to copy this thing. We want it to be in a format such as first it should tell us the date, after that it should tell us the month, and at last it should tell us the year. So I want it to be in this format. If you want, you can change the format according to your need. So I will just add this thing over here just to correct the spelling of year. If we save this code and if we try to call this function first of all, and after that we need to save the code, and if we try to run it, in the output you can see the date for today is 2nd of January 2022. So we can do something like this to get the output. So once we are done with that, we want it to speak all these things. So instead of this print function, we are going to be replacing it with speak. This will be also speak, and we also want to speak the year. And before this piece of thing, we just need to call the speak function once again, and in here we can give the output to the user as the current date is, and after that it should give us the output. So let me just try to save the code, and if we just try to run it,
the current date is 2/1/2023.
So you guys can see we are getting the appropriate output that we wanted. You can change the sequence of all these things like month, date, and year if you want, but I think this is perfect that we have added over here. So we are getting the appropriate output that we wanted. We wanted it to speak the current date, and we are successfully able to get the current date with the help of this date function that we have created. And we have used the date time module for getting all this data. So this is a built-in Python module using which we can work on date and time, and there are different features that are available in this date time module. So if you want to get more knowledge about it, you can just search on Google about Python date time module, and you will get a lot of functions and different parameters that you can use with this date time module to create a unique output So you can refer the documents to add more functionalities into it. If you want to speak the current day or something like that, you can just refer the documentation and you can add n number of functionalities into it. So I think that was it for this lesson on getting the date function working. So we are successfully able to get the date. So without further ado, let's move to the next lesson of our course. So in the previous lesson, we have added this functionality into a virtual assistant using which we can get the current date. So in this particular section, we're going to be adding two different functions into our virtual assistant. The first one will be the greeting function and the other one will be the wish me function. So let me explain how this greeting function will be working. So let's say you are starting our virtual assistant Jarvis in the morning time. So you want it to greet you. So in that case, it should tell us good morning, sir. If it is afternoon, in that case, it should tell us good afternoon, sir. If it is evening, it should tell us good evening, sir. If it is night time, in that case, it should tell us good night, sir. So we are going to be adding this basic functionality into a virtual assistant using which it will be able to greet us. So let me just try to remove this date function call from here, and we're going to be creating another function that will be greeting. And inside this function, first of all, we are going to be checking for the current hour. So we'll do hour is equals to datetime dot now, and after that I will do dot hour. So using this hour variable, we're going to be checking what is the current hour, and accordingly we're going to be creating different if else condition in that we are going to be greeting our user. So after getting the current hour, yeah, we are going to be creating an if statement, and we're going to be doing hour if it is less than or equals to 6, which is 6 a.m. and at the same time, if the hour is less than 12 afternoon, in that case we are going to be speaking good morning, sir. Now once we are done with that, we are going to be just copying this speak function from here, and after that we are going to be adding another statement that will be elif. Now we have already added if statement, and we are going to be checking for the elif condition. In that we want our virtual assistant to check if the hour is greater than or equals to 12, and at the same time it should be less than 18. That is 6 p.m. So it should be less than 6 p.m. and greater than or equals to 12. In that case, we are going to be greeting our user as good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon, sir. Add this thing over here, and after that we are going to be checking for another condition using the elif condition, and here we are going to be doing hour is greater than or equals to 18 and the hour is less than, you guessed it right, 24. In that case we are going to be speaking good evening, sir. If the hour is in between 1 to 6, in that case we are going to be greeting our user as good night, sir. Good night. So here we have added 4 different conditions for greeting to the user. So if it is the morning time in between 6 a.m. to 12 p.m., in that case we are going to be greeting our user good morning. If the time is between 12 p.m. to 6 p.m., in that case we are going to be greeting our user good afternoon, sir. If the time is between 6 p.m. to 12 a.m., in that case we are going to be greeting our user good evening, sir. And at last, if the time is between 12 a.m. to 6 a.m., in that case we are going to be greeting the user good night, sir. So you can change the timing according to your need. If you want it to say good morning at a particular time, in that time frame it will tell us or greet us with that particular greeting. So you can play around with this timings according to your need. I think this is perfect for me, so I'm going with this one. So once we are done with this, we are going to be testing out this greeting function. So I will call this greeting function, and the current time is around 12:30 p.m. So it should tell us good afternoon, sir, in that case. So let me just try to save the code and try to run it and show you the output.
Good afternoon, sir.
So you guys can see it is greeting us with good afternoon. So I think this is working perfectly fine. You can just set the timings according to your need. If you want it to certain greeting at a time, you can just change it from here and adjust the time according to your need. And the timing is in 24-hour format, so you can just try to adjust that thing. So I think you got a clear idea of how we can add a greeting function into a virtual assistant with the help of this particular piece of code. And we have successfully added the greeting function into our virtual assistant. So I think that was it for this particular lesson. So without further ado, let's move to the next lesson of our course. So in the previous video of our course, we have created this greeting function using which our virtual assistant will be able to greet us according to the time of the day. So if it is morning, it will tell us good morning, sir. If it is afternoon, it will tell us good afternoon, sir. If it is evening, it will tell us good evening. And if it is night, in that case, it will tell us good night, sir. So in this particular video, we are going to be creating another function that will be a wish me function. So right here, we have created multiple functions like time, date, and greeting. So whenever we start our virtual assistant, initially we want it to speak or call all these functions together one by one. So for that, we're going to be basically creating a wish me function. So over here, I will just remove this function call, which is for the greeting function, and we will do def wish me. And inside this wish me function, first of all, we're going to be making our virtual assistant speak that welcome back, sir. After that, we want it to tell us the current time. So in that case, we will just call this time function that we have created. So using this function call, it will get us the current time and it will speak the current time is and the current time. After that, we also want it to speak the current date. So it will call this particular date function and it will get all these values for the year, month, and date. And it will speak something like the current date is and the date for today or at that point of time when we are running this code. And once we are done with that, we want it to greet us with the greetings such as good evening, good afternoon, and so on. So we are going to be calling the greeting function. And at last, we want it to tell us, Jarvis at your service. Please tell me how can I help you. So I will just add this thing in a form of string. I will type Jarvis at your service. Please tell me how can I help you. So by adding these kind of lines, we are making our virtual assistant more interactive. So user will not feel that the inputs are written or predefined. So we can add these kinds of replies to the commands and it will feel more interactive to the user as well. So we have added these line of code over here. So whenever we start our virtual assistant, initially we are going to be calling this wish me function. So we will get all the updates that are related to this, like it will tell us welcome back, sir. It will give us the current time, current date. It will greet us as well as tell us that Jarvis at your service. Please tell me how can I help you. So we don't need to call each and every function one by one inside our code. Instead of that, we have created a separate function that we can use. That is the wish me function. So once we are done with this, we can just try to call this wish me function, wish me, to test it out. And if we just try to save this, And if we try to run the code,
Welcome back, sir. The current time is 3 hours 52 minutes and 56 seconds. The current date is 2/1/2023. Good afternoon, sir. Jarvis at your service, please tell me how can I help you?
so you guys can see that we have added this particular functionality for wishing us, and it is returning us all the requirement details like the time, date, and it is also greeting us with the greet. So this is how we can create a wish me function using which we can greet the user. So we are going to be only calling this function whenever the user runs the code for the first time, and after that we are not going to be calling this function again. Instead of that, we can directly call the function that is required. So most often we are going to be requiring the time and date function only. There will be no use of the greet function once we are using it in the wish me function. So I think you got a clear idea of how you can use this wish me function. So I think that was it for this particular lesson on wish me function. So without further ado, let's move to the next lesson of our course. So in the previous lesson of our course, we have created this wish me function using which our virtual assistant will greet us and give us the necessary details. So initially it will tell us welcome back, sir. After that, we are calling the time function to get the current time, and once we are done with that, it is returning the current date using the date function, and at last it is greeting us with a greet such as good evening, good afternoon, good night, and so on. And after that, it will tell us Jarvis at your service, please tell me how can I help you. So if I just try to save this code and try to run it and show you the output.
Welcome back, sir. The current time is 3 hours 56 minutes and 57 seconds. The current date is 2/1/2023. Good afternoon, sir. Jarvis at your service, please tell me how can I help you?
So you can see that our virtual assistant is able to give us the appropriate output using the wish me function, and it is able to wish us. So in this particular lesson, we are going to be starting with taking the input from the user. That will be the take command cmd function using which we can take the input from the user using the command prompt in the form of text, and our virtual assistant will reply in the form of speech. So let's try adding that into our code. So first of all, we will remove this wish me function call from here, and we're going to be creating a function name take command cmd, and using this function we will take the input in the form of text from the user through the command prompt. So here we're going to be creating a variable named query. So this will be the question or the query that the user will ask the virtual assistant, and it will be in the form of an input. And inside this we can just write some kind of text. So I will just add please tell me how can I help you. So we are going to be asking our user, please tell me how can I help you. So after that, we are going to be returning the query. So whenever we call this particular function, it will give us the output as the query, and it will return this query. And also we can add a /n over here. So if I add /n, so it will take the input in the new line. Once we are done with our take command function, we are going to be creating a main function. So if for that we will do if underscore name underscore, which will be equals to in double quotes, you're going to be adding underscore main and underscore. So this is the format that we can use to create a main function in Python, and we're going to be using this main function to check different queries that the user will ask, and accordingly we're going to be adding different replies to it. So first of all, we're going to be creating a while loop. So we will do while true. In that case, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be creating a variable query that will be equals to take command dot lower. So basically what we are doing is we are calling the take command function, and we are getting whatever query is passed in the command prompt, and we are converting it into lowercase. So it will be easy for us to check for the condition. So the condition might be case sensitive. So if the user uses some capital and some small letters, in that case, it will be not able to match that with our query that we have added in this particular conditions. So to simplify that things, we can use the .lower function to convert it into a lowercase. So once we get the input from the user, that is the query, we are going to be checking for some if and else conditions. So we will do if the user query contains time. In that case, we are going to be performing some operations. So we will do if time in query. In that case, we are going to be calling the time function and telling the user what is the current time. And we are going to be adding an elif condition to check the date as well. So we'll do date in query. In that case, we are going to be calling the date function. So basically what we are doing over here is, first of all, we will get the query from the user using the take command function, and this query will be in the form of text through the command prompt, and it will just check whether the query or the question that user asked contains these things, which is time and date, and if it contains that, it will call the particular function accordingly. And also we want to call this wish me function initially when we run our code. So for that, what we can do is, before this while loop, we can call the wish me function. So I can do wish me, and if we just try to save our code and try to run it now.
Welcome back, sir. The current time is 4 hours 3 minutes and 16 seconds. The current date is 2/1/2023. Good afternoon, sir. Jarvis at your service, please tell me how can I help you?
Okay, so it is showing up some error. So over here you can see that we have missed out brackets for the function call. That's why it is showing up some error. So if we save the code and try to run it again.
Welcome back, sir. The current time is 4 hours 4 minutes and 30 seconds. The current date is 2/1/2023. Good afternoon, sir. Jarvis at your service, please tell me how can I help you?
Now you can see it is asking, please tell me how can I help you. Now the command prompt is active. We can give it some command. So let me ask, what is the date today? And if we hit enter,
the current date is 2/1/2023.
Similarly, we can ask, what is the time now?
The current time is 4 hours 5 minutes and 16 seconds.
So you can see it is able to answer our questions that we are asking it using the command prompt, and we have only added two functionalities right now in our main function. You can see the first one is time and the second one is date. So these are the two functions that we have added, and they are working perfectly fine with our take command cmd function. So right now we are successfully able to take the command from the user in the form of text input, and we can give the user an output in the form of speech with the help of our virtual assistant Jarvis. So I think you got a clear idea of how you can create your own take command cmd function, using which we can give the command in the form of text and it will reply us in the form of speech. So I think that was it for this particular lesson. If you have any issues or doubts regarding it, then you can let me know in the Q&A section of this course. So without further ado, let's move to the next lesson of our course. So in the previous lesson of our course, we have created this take command cmd function, using which we were able to take the input from the user in the form of text and reply the user with the help of speech. So we have added this particular functionality in our code. So in this lesson, we are going to be moving forward and taking the input from the user using the microphone and converting it into text and accordingly replying to the user with the help of our virtual assistant. So for adding this functionality, we need to install a particular library that is called speech recognition. So for installing that, we can just search on Google speech recognition Python, and we will get this first result for this library. So using this command, that is pip install speech recognition, we can install it onto our system. And over here you can see the entire documentation for this particular library. So you can go through it, and if you want to add a particular feature or function into it, you can just go through it and you can add your own features into it as well. But for now, we are going to be keeping it simple and we're going to be installing it onto our system. But for further references, or if you want to add any functionality, you can just go through the documentation of this library. So I will just minimize this thing, and over here we're going to be opening our terminal, and we're going to be pressing this command which says pip install speech recognition. And if we hit enter, so it will start installing it onto our system. So it is already installed on my system. It will take few seconds to install it on your system. And while installing this speech recognition, you might get an error called pi audio not found or not installed. In that case, you can just do pip install pi audio and hit enter. So it will start installing that package onto your system itself. So if you face that error, you can just add this particular command. So once we are done with that, we will just try to import this particular library over here. So I will do import speech underscore recognition, and over here I will also add the command to install this particular library which says pip install speech recognition. And this particular library is used to convert speech data from mic to text. Also, we have the library which is the PyTTSX3. So if you want to get its documentation, you can just search for PyTTSX3 on the Google and you will get this first result. And if we click on this, you can see the entire documentation for PyTTSX3 as well. So you can just go through it if you want to change anything like the rate, speech rate, or if you want to increase the volume, decrease the volume, or if you want to add any other functionality, you can just go through the documentation and you can make necessary changes into the code. So once we are done with this, we are going to be starting with our function for taking the input from the user through the mic. So for that, we can do one thing, that is we can create another function that we will name as take command mic, because we're going to be using the microphone to take the input from the user. So we are going to be using this particular function, that is take command mic. After creating this function, we also forgot to add a piece of line here that will be import speech recognition as SR. So we have created a reference variable SR that will be calling this speech recognition. So once we are done with this, we will come over here, and inside this take command mic function, we are going to be creating a variable R that will be SR dot recognizer, and we are going to be calling this thing. And after that, we will do with SR dot microphone as source. So we are going to be using the microphone as source, and we're going to be taking the input. So first of all, we will print listening. After that, we will do r dot pause threshold, that will be equals to 1. So we will wait for 1 second to get the input from the user through the mic, and after that, we will store it inside a variable named audio, that will be r dot listen, and we're going to be listening to the source. And after this, we are going to be creating a try block. So I will do try. So over here, we are going to be trying to recognize the input which we have taken from the microphone. So here we will do recognizing. And after that, we will do query, which will be equals to r.recognize underscore Google. And over here, we're going to be passing the audio, comma, language. So in my case, it will be en hyphen in. So this is the code for the language. So for English India, this is the code that I'm using. So according to your country, you can use the code over here. So after this, we are going to be printing out the query. So we will do in single quotes user said, and we are going to be concatenating it with the query. And after that, we are going to be creating the except block for the exception. So except block, that this except block, we're going to be doing exception as key. And over here, I think we should add a space. And inside this exception, we are going to be printing out this exception. That is E. Also, we are going to be making our virtual assistant speak that. Say that again, please. That we are going to be returning something. So we will do return. In this case, we are going to be returning none. If it is unable to recognize or there is any exception, in that case, we are going to be returning none, or in the other case, we are going to be returning the query. So once we are done with this, let's see if there is any issue in our code. First of all, we are creating a variable r that will be the sr.recognizer. After that, we are using the with sr.microphone as source, and we are listening for the input from the user through the mic, and we are storing it inside the audio variable. After that, we are creating a try block in which we are just trying to recognize the input from the user that we are getting, and we are printing out the output in the form of text. And after that, we have added a except block in which we are checking for the exception, and if there is any error, it will print out the error and tell the user to speak or say that again please, and it will be returning none. And if there is any output, it will return the query. So this is how we have created this take command mic function. So using this function, we will be able to take the input from the user through the microphone. So now let's try testing out this take command mic function. So let me try to replace this take command cmd with take command mic. So I will do take command mic dot lower, and after that, if we save our code and try to run it.
Welcome back, sir. The current time is 4 hours 19 minutes and 34 seconds. The current date is 2/1/2023. Good afternoon, sir. Jarvis at your service, please tell me how can I help you?
Jarvis, what is the time?
The current time is 4 hours 19 minutes and 55 seconds.
Jarvis, what is the date?
The current date is 2/1/2023.
So you guys can see it is able to take the input from the user through the microphone and recognize it, and it is doing it in the milliseconds of time, and it is doing it in the real time. And all this recognition part is being done on the cloud using the Google recognizer, and we are getting the output instantly, and it is also able to give us the output for the appropriate question. So if we ask what is the time, it is giving us the current time and calling the time function. If we ask what is the date, it is calling the date function and giving us the appropriate output. So this is how we can create a take command mic function, using which we can take the input from the user using the microphone, and it will try to recognize the audio file, and it will convert it into text, and it will check for the conditions that we have added inside this main function, and accordingly it will give us the appropriate output. So this is how we can create this particular piece of code for recognizing the audio and converting it into text. So that was it for this particular lesson. So without further ado, let's move to the next video of our course.